Welcome to the new normal of Truthside TV. I am Nilantha Ilangamuwa. Today I am here at the Turkish Embassy in Colombo to talk about Turkey and Sri Lanka diplomatic relationships. My guest today is Her Excellency Demet Şekercioğlu. She is the Ambassador of Republic of Turkey to Sri Lanka. Welcome to the show. Your Excellency Demet Şekercioğlu, welcome to the new normal of Truthside TV.
Thank you very much for inviting me to join you this morning, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the Sri Lankan people.
What was your first impression of Sri Lanka?
Well, it might sound as a cliche, but my sincere feeling about Sri Lanka is that you have a beautiful country. You still have so much untouched natural beauties. It's important to preserve them while developing the country. Your people are so friendly and hospitable. I'm very happy to serve in Colombo. I did not have the opportunity to visit the country yet due to the coronavirus pandemic, but wherever I went, whoever I met in Colombo up to now, I was so warmly welcomed. This is an extraordinary feeling. I realized that despite the geographical distance between our countries, we share many similarities. We are both a mosaic of different ethnic groups and religious groups. This brings some challenges, of course, but it has also a great richness. We also share some cultural similarities. For example, in Turkey, when a friend or a neighbor offers us a meal, we will never give the dish empty back. We will also cook something in return. I learned that you also have this same tradition in Sri Lanka. This is really amazing.
During your meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister Rajapaksa, you have emphasized that there are so many areas where we can enhance our relationships. Please let us know about what are the areas that we can enhance our relationship.
Turkish-Sri Lankan relations have a deep history dating back to the 19th century. The Ottoman Empire opened a honorary consulate in the British-ruled Ceylon in 1864. Later, Turkey recognized Ceylon at its independence, and the Turkish Embassy in New Delhi was accredited to the country. But the revitalizing of the bilateral relations came with the visit of our then Prime Minister, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, in 2005 after the tsunami in the region. This visit was followed by the opening of our embassy here in Colombo in 2013. Our diplomats have always had very good cooperation in international bodies, especially on counter-terrorism. This is an area which is very important for both our countries. But it is difficult to pretend that our people know each other very well. Of course, the Ceylon tea is very much appreciated in Turkey. Turkish people are a great consumer of tea. But still, they are in a process of discovering each other's countries. Before the pandemic, the Turkish Airlines was operating daily flights between Istanbul and Colombo. This was playing a very positive role in bringing our people together, our businessmen together, and the Turkish tourists to discover Sri Lanka. So let's hope that the pandemic will be over soon and we will be able to tackle again the large range of untapped cooperation areas which are in front of us.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe that Turkey can contribute immensely to the progress of Sri Lanka by sharing her experience and expertise on many fields. tourism, agriculture, housing, environment, health, infrastructure, education, security are some of those fields. Turkey is mainly exporting iron and steel, textile, as well as electrical machines and devices to Sri Lanka, and is importing garment, accessories, coffee and tea. We should certainly join our hands to explore new avenues of cooperation. The Turkish-Sri Lankan Business Council of the Foreign Economic Relation Board, which is based in Istanbul, is very much keen to develop these relations. They are working on a webinar which is going to bring together business people of both countries. Of course, we will also continue to strengthen our cooperation on counterterrorism. It is a priority for both of our leaders. We cannot sustain economic development without security and stability.
Consequences of terrorism is our common painful experience, and we all are against terrorism and exercise of any form of violence. And as you know, we as the nation have suffered from terrorism for nearly 3 decades. And then we were shocked by the last day attacks allegedly launched by the Islamic extremists, which killed more than 100 innocent people in Sri Lanka. Recently, you have won the return of members of Futalist terrorist organizations known as FATO to Sri Lanka. This is alarming, I believe. And why do they want to locate in Sri Lanka?
Last year, terrorist attacks in Sri Lanka was also a great shock for us. In our minds, Sri Lanka was a secure and peaceful country. We also lost 2 of our young engineers who were working in Colombo. So I would like to once again extend my sincere condolences to the Sri Lankan nation. This is a very painful experience, has proved us once again that we should never underestimate terrorist organizations and we should continue to trace them properly. It is the same message I wanted to convey this year to the Sri Lankan people as well as to the authorities. It was on the occasion of the 4th anniversary of the failed coup attempt of 2016, which was organized by the FETÖ terrorist organization in Turkey. To better understand why FETÖ would like to establish in Sri Lanka, we first have to understand what FETÖ is, its aims, and how it operates. The history of FETÖ goes back to the 1970s. It initially started its operation through establishing schools in Turkey and later on in the world under the guise of a charitable organization. However, over years, FETÖ and its sympathizers strengthened their power. They infiltrated into the critical state position, especially in the security, judiciary, and in the army. The education movement gradually transformed itself into a secretive operational structure, and it was aiming to transform the society from within. The final goal was to destroy the democratic foundations of the Turkish Republic and establish a new state under the absolute rule of its leader, Fethullah Gülen, who is considered by his followers as the Imam of the universe. Of course, in order to achieve their goal, they needed finance, which was provided through establishing companies and collecting donations. Media houses were established to shape the public opinion. Today, FETÖ is present in 160 countries, and the same method is used everywhere. As I expressed previously, we see eye to eye with Sri Lanka on counterterrorism issues. We are very pleased, and I want to thank once again Sri Lankan authorities for eliminating FETÖ elements from the country. But as I earlier expressed, we should still continue to be vigilant about their presence.
Let's talk about Turkey. What are the social and economic impact of the failed coup attempts in July 2016?
As I told earlier, FETÖ elements had infiltrated not only critical state positions but also the media houses, universities, and businesses. They had abused their power to eliminate whoever opposed or tried to expose their organization. They caused great sufferings to the Turkish nation. Some great patriots from the army, academia, and all segments of the society who opposed them died in prison. They had fabricated evidences and condemned them. They have stolen the dreams of thousands of young people who could not reach their aspirations due to the mass-scale exams cheatings of the organization. The questions and answers were given to the FETÖ-affiliated students to provide them with good results. So, of course, our economy also suffered from the coup attempt. First and foremost, the tourism was affected. Our economic growth in 2016 decreased to 3.2%. But FETÖ coup attempt was not the first terrorist incident which happened in Turkey. Due to the geostrategic location of our country, we had become the target of many inside and outside terrorist groups over the years. They were trying to manipulate and to destabilize our country. So we had developed a kind of social, political, and economic self-resilience. At the end of the day, in 2017, the GDP grew by 7.4% in Turkey, and our progress and development are ongoing on many important areas. Turkey became one of the major global economies. In terms of purchasing parity power, the Turkish GDP is the 6th largest of Europe and the 13th of the world.
But Fethullah Gulen, the leader of that movement, and also his followers continue to deny their involvement in this failed coup attempt. Let me quote one of his statements regarding this issue, and he said, quote, "My message to the Turkish people is never to view any military intervention positively, because through military interventions, democracy cannot be achieved," he said in a statement recently in the sense in 2016. And I wonder if you can reaffirm his involvement in this brutal terror attack which has killed more than 200 innocent people in the country.
Yes, certainly. We have many strong proofs of their involvement in the plot. We have the testimonies of a number of FETÖ members who participated in the secret meetings of which were organized by the close aides of Fethullah Gulen. And they confessed that he told them that they received the approval and further instructions from Fethullah Gulen regarding the coup plot. All the evidence collected so far through the investigations and trials demonstrate that the bloodiest terrorist attack was orchestrated by FETÖ under the instructions of Fethullah Gulen. Above all, we know that those of the FETÖ-affiliated military personnel who kidnapped the then Chief of General Staff, who is currently our Minister of National Defense, on the night of the 15th July, tried to persuade him to directly talk to Fethullah Gulen in an attempt to convince him to join their ranks. This was the deadliest terrorist attacks of our country has ever experienced in its modern history. FETÖ terrorists tried to bring down the government, assassinate the democratically elected president. They shot at civilians, innocent civilians, bombed the Turkish Grand National Assembly, which is the symbol of the sovereignty. After the Turkish nation's strong response to the coup attempt, where thousands took the streets and 251 lost their lives to protect the republic and its democratic foundations, one cannot expect Fethullah Gülen and his followers to recognize such a cruel act, which has been condemned by every segment of the Turkish society.
Who are supporting Gülen? What is his strength at the moment?
Fethullah Gülen is living comfortably in a country which is our NATO ally since 1999, when he was faced with the criminal charges of attempting to overthrow the constitutional regime. After the failed coup attempt, some of his followers fled abroad also. Although FETÖ continues to pose a threat on the global scale, unfortunately some of our friends, allies, and neighbors still continue to protect them. Its members can find safe havens in many countries. Some of so-called democratic countries advocating rule of law try to obstruct our legal efforts to bring them to justice. Those who are supporting FETÖ are probably the same of those who don't want us to progress. They don't want us to implement independent policies which will serve the interests of the Turkish nation, and don't want to see a strong Turkey, but rather a destabilized country which they can manipulate. Fortunately, we have friends like Sri Lanka, who has cooperated with us to eliminate FETÖ elements. Pakistan, for example, whose assembly has recognized FETÖ as a terrorist organization. The strength of Turkey comes from the resilience of its people and its ability to unite in face of a danger threatening the nation and the country.
In your assessment, Gülen is a terrorist. Let me quote a portion from his statement on Easter attack in Sri Lanka. Quote, "Nobody should have any doubt that these senseless attacks are not aimed at Sri Lankan people or Christians, but at all humanity. They are meant to add another incident to the circle of violence that targeted peace, tranquility, and solidarity of humanity." If anyone read this line in the statements, they will find he is a noble man, isn't it?
Yes, certainly you are right. Fethullah Gülen and his followers continues to fool the world like they did with the Turkish people over the years. They continue to hide their radical faces behind a humanitarian and charitable mask. It is important to understand that FETÖ is not an ordinary terrorist organization. This is why its leader and the organization itself is so much more dangerous than any other terrorist organization known to the state. They need and they will continue to uphold this false public image, which helps them to operate through their schools, foundations, companies, and so-called NGOs all around the world. This became a matter of death or life for them. There is a great number of FETÖ discourses on the social media. If you can follow them, you will see that he's clearly ordering his followers to hide themselves, their real intentions, objectives, until they become strong enough to accomplish their final goal. The message is very clear, and this is the method they used in Turkey from 1970s up to this failed coup attempt.
Your Excellency, your government keeps on requesting from host countries to extradite Turkey's originated alleged terrorists, including Gülen, to prosecute in the court of law in your country. But I'm afraid, why do those most demands go on unheard?
Well, our request to extradite the terrorists to Turkey unfortunately fall on deaf ears. For decades, we have been fighting a number of terrorist organizations simultaneously. PKK, Daesh, FETÖ is some of them. Currently, the terrorism originating from Syria is a serious threat to us. We are the only member of the global coalition against Daesh, which has put a chest-to-chest combat against the Daesh in Syria. But the terrorist attacks emanating from Syria does not only come from Daesh. There are also the YPG, which is an offshoot of the PKK. This is a terrorist organization which is aiming to separate Turkey. And we are fighting since 1984. PKK is also a designated terrorist organization by the EU and the NATO. However, instead of working together with Turkey to eliminate Daesh, one of our NATO allies continuously supply arms to YPG under the pretext that it is fighting against Daesh.
According to the media reports, Turkey is bearing brunt of refugees crisis. Turkey is currently hosting over 4 million refugees, with 3.7 of them are Syrians. His Excellency the President of Turkey told recently that, quote, Turkey is the number one country in humanitarian aid compared to the national income, unquote. Tell us the current situation in the country.
Turkey pursues a foreign policy which is guided by its founding principles, peace at home and peace in the world, with an enterprising and humanitarian approach. This approach reflects the character of the Turkish people and represents the essence of the Turkish foreign policy. We put considerable effort to reduce global vulnerabilities and undertake leading roles in humanitarian assistance and development aid. Our priority is to achieve security, stability, and prosperity in our neighborhood and beyond. Within this context, we address all items of our foreign policy agenda through a responsible, human-oriented, diligent, and principled manner. The concrete translation of this foreign policy approach to the refugees issue is that Turkey is hosting almost 4 million refugees, among whom the majority are Syrians. This is the highest number of refugees in a country in the world. According to the Development Initiative's Global Humanitarian Assistance Report, Turkey became the most spending country in terms of global humanitarian assistance for the 2 years in a row, with a total of 8.1 billion aid in 2017 and 8.4 billion in 2018. But this number does not include our spending for Syrian refugees. We have been hosting in Turkey since the beginning of the Syrian crisis. So far, we have spent more than 40 billion US dollars for the well-being of the Syrians who are living in the country. The foreign policy of the Republic of Turkey, who will celebrate its centennial anniversary in 2023, will continue to safeguard national security and interest while contributing to the common goals of the humanity.
Your Excellency, Sri Lanka and Turkey are maintaining a cordial diplomatic relationship since its established. You have supported Sri Lanka for many development programs. And what are your future plans?
Turkey sees Sri Lanka as a reliable friend and partner. Both countries have been maintaining cordial and friendly relations over the years. We wish to see a more developed and stronger Sri Lanka. In this regard, we always extended our support to Sri Lanka within our capacities. Our assistance to Sri Lanka comprises humanitarian aid as well as development and capacity building assistance. Distributing our assistance to the different regions and communities of the island is also a great of importance for us. If I may count some of the assistance we have so far extended, we have built 450 houses in Matara for the tsunami victims. After the end of the civil war, we founded the construction of 100 houses in Sri Lanka Turkey Friendship Village in Manar for the IDPs. Later, we provided assistance to construct a school, a playground, and a hospital in the same village. We provided fishermen and farmers in Trincomalee with fishing boats, fishing gears, and water pumps. So there's a number of initiatives we took, and we will continue to do so through the Turkish official aid agencies, which is TİKA and the Turkish Red Crescent.
Yeah.
We are providing those aid with a transparent manner. And I'm confident to say that our humanitarian and development capacity building aid to Sri Lanka will continue according to the needs of the Sri Lankan people. We will also continue to work together with the Sri Lankan counterparts to encourage Turkish business people to contribute to the progress of Sri Lanka.
Your Excellency, Demet Şekercioğlu, thank you so much for being with us. It is an honor to have you on our show. We wish you all the best and stay safe and well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity once again, and I wish peace, health, and prosperity to the people of Sri Lanka.